There is an irresponsible amount of money on this table. By the end of this video, you're going to know whether a compensator and ports are worth the money over the performance a normal 2011 has, and which of these guns represent the best value to performance ratio. And it's not just one shooter, it's two, and the results surprised me. So let's meet the guns involved in the test. On the regular side of the house, we have the Masterpiece Arms DS9 Hybrid, the Kimber 2K11 Target, the Bul Armory Blaze, the Sig Sauer P211 GT5, and the Atlas Gunworks Athena. The compensated imported side of the house, we have the Bul Armory Tac Pro 5-inch, the Fusion Firearms XP Comp, the Kimber 2K11 Comp, the Sig Sauer P211 GTO, and the mighty Staccato XC that basically invented the category. We need easier names to say. These are all ridiculous numbers and letters. All right, so I'm going to explain things real quick. Stick with me through this because when you hear about Danny's results, he particularly shredded with one gun and it kind of taught us a lot. But before we get there, you have to understand the drill. The drill being used is called the designated target drill. There are 4 targets. You engage the first target, then the second target, then the first target, then the third target, then the first target, then the fourth target, then the first target. We're gonna score all the points on the targets. There's 3 scoring zones. Alpha's 5 points, Charlie's 3 points, Delta is 1 point, a miss or a no shoot is minus 10 points both. Then you add up all those points and divide them by time and that gives you hit factor. That is USPSA Comstock scoring, also used in IPSC. This isn't a lab test, it's just 2 guys with a timer and all cold runs, but that kind of reflects what you'd be getting out of the guns too if you were on the range. So we started the shooting with the non-compensated guns. For me, all the guns shot pretty well, with the biggest difference being the hits on target and how locked in my eyes were at a point on the target. Predictably, the guns got better as I got used to the swings of the transition, though my highest score was the gun I shot third, which was the MPA. My times ranged from 532 to 550 with the guns, and the order of finish being the MPA, the GT5, the Athena, the Blaze, then the 2K11. And that's really funny because the Blaze and the 2K11 have spent the most time in my holster as my competition guns. So it kind of goes to show you the power of the cold run. The guns I am most familiar with, I did not get the best scores with. Now, Danny, a quick shooter biography for Danny. Danny is a master in IDPA. Doesn't really shoot USPSA style targets. So true to IDPA form, he was trying to do some points maxing, or alpha mogging, if you will. But then he started to understand the scoring model with USPSA and his time sped up. The order of his finish for the guns were the Athena, Blaze, GT5, 2K11, and the MPA all at the end. So what's interesting is the gun that I shot absolutely the best, he shot absolutely the worst. The Athena was kind of mid-pack for me. It didn't seem to make a difference. It was just really down to the shooter. On the compensated imported side of the house, I saw a bigger variance ranging from 5.10 seconds with the Tac Pro up to 5.61 seconds with the XP Comp. Now the XP Comp I didn't go full send with because the recoil impulse is so different that I didn't have great confidence I was driving the gun correctly, but I did shoot all alphas, so that helped. Meanwhile, I felt froggy on the XC and threw my only 2 mics for the day, with it absolutely cratering the score for the XC, so the Staccato bros are judging me harshly, and they have right to do so. My order of finish on the compensated guns was the 2K11 Comp, the XP Comp, the Tac Pro, the GTO, and then the XC bringing up the rear. Danny, on the other hand, found a new gear. The Bul Armory Tac Pro in his hands, he was a different shooter, and that's because that's basically Danny's competition gun. He shoots a version of that gun more than any other handgun, and he's in time with the gun and was able to absolutely shred by over a second. That was the only 5-second run of the day for him, and his hits were brilliant. Danny with the Tac Pro, that's 2 alpha.
1 Charlie.
7 alpha, 1 Charlie. 2 alpha.
Oh.
Alpha Delta. Hey, not bad. And I'm just gonna pause right here because this is probably the biggest key learning that a typical guy who, doesn't go out and shoot a ton of guns all the time can learn from. If you focus on one gun and one gun only and focus on getting really good with that gun, you're going to do far better than if you hollow out the safe every time you go to the range and shoot a bunch of guns just to shoot a little bit because you like them. I realize that's fun, but if your goal is to build skill, learning the timing and how the gun moves, how your grip returns the gun from recoil, and deeply understanding that at a subconscious level so you don't have to think about it, that's where you want to be. That's where Danny is with the Tac Pro. Like, the Tac Pro is his gun and he crushed with it. So backing off my soapbox, Danny's times ranged from 5.66 to 6.29. The order of finish for the guns ended up being the Tac Pro, the XC, the 2K11 Comp, the XP Comp, and the GTO. What was interesting about Danny's stuff is that his slowest time on the compensated guns was faster than his fastest time with the non-compensated guns. So kind of back to that point, Danny's exceptionally used to shooting with compensated guns, and as a result, the normal guns just didn't move the way he was accustomed to, and he couldn't drive them as hard. So if you're still with me so far, please consider subscribing. I do videos like this every single week, and I've got a whole back catalog of all these guns that you see in this video. They've got reviews up, so check those out as well. So what's the difference between the compensated scores and the non-compensated scores? Well, what I expected to happen was that the non-compensated scores were going to be roughly the same as the compensated scores. And if you include how I absolutely destroyed the Staccato XC and made its score terrible, then that is true. But if you discard the extremes, so the highest score in each category and the lowest score in each category, and just focus on the middle, on my scores, the scores were just over 3% higher with a compensated gun, which isn't nothing, but it's not what I was expecting to see. I was expecting it to be basically the same, but I can say definitively that I can drive a compensated or ported gun a little bit harder than a non-compensated gun. Now on Danny's side of the house, that was pretty much a different story. So if you take Danny's scores and discard the extremes, his normalized score was nearly 17% higher than his non-compensated score. I can't say that the compensators are making him shoot better or that he's just used to compensators, so he shoots compensated guns better than he shoots non-comped guns, but you get the picture. That's too big a difference to ignore. But what if you just kind of put the guns together and stack them up in an overall order of finish? Well, for me, the top gun was the MPA, which is a non-compensated gun, and then close on its heels was the 2K11 Comp, not quite 2% off. On Danny's side of the house, the top two guns were compensated, then the Athena, then the GTO, who Danny let down spectacularly. Yep, he's getting judged by that gun as we speak. So as much as I'd love to tell you compensators don't matter, they apparently do if you're used to them. So the performance bit is done and dusted. Let's talk about the value of the guns. And I came at this through taking all of those hit factors for each of us, taking the current sell price on the street for the guns, dividing it by the hit factor, and getting kind of dollars per point of hit factor. So predictably, when doing that, if you look at the guns with the lowest sell price have the highest value because they have the fewest dollars per hit factor. And that makes sense because if you go 0 to 1, that's going to be kind of the biggest jump up in value. And everything beyond that is going to be your diminishing returns. So compensator or no compensator, your results are going to be highly personal. It's not a, this one is absolutely better sort of, well, it kind of is, but just not as much as people make it sound like on the internet. You should always see if you can rent guns that you're interested in shooting, and the reality is the guns you already have are good enough and you don't need more, but they're fun to get. As per always, don't ask me which gun you should get. You should just get the one that you like the best, because realistically, these are emotional purchases and they're all very good. And if you enjoyed this video, you'd probably enjoy this one as well.